Hey, welcome to FLINTFACE Makes. My name is Joe. I'm a musician. I have another channel called FLINTFACE where it's dedicated to my music videos, a podcast. But this particular channel is dedicated to one of my deepest passions outside of Jesus and my family. A subject that only my friend Mikey will talk to me about. A subject that my wife only pretends to care about because she loves me. And that is car audio. So if you don't have anybody to listen to you talk about car audio, or if they just smile and nod at you when you talk about it, come here. This is where you're welcome, okay? So, but if you're here specifically for the thumbnail and the title, let's get right into that. Painting my car like this with Rust-Oleum truck bed liner for 120 bucks. I know there's a million videos about how to paint your car for 100 bucks on less on YouTube, and this is not unique to that, but this is unique in that we use Rust-Oleum truck bed liner, and I can at least share with you all the pitfalls, all the mistakes, how I fix clouding, dripping, how many cans did I use, how often do I touch it up, that kind of stuff. Let's talk about it all. I'm gonna keep it really short and sweet though, and just kind of show you some footage whilst I talk, okay? So it's a 2007 FJ Cruiser. I bought about 5 years ago. It was yellow. The guy plasti dipped the trims, the rims, the hood. I plasti dipped the roof to kind of match it. It looked okay. It looked okay from a distance, but up close, the plasti dip was starting to bake and peel and not look so good, and it was back when plasti dip was cool. So as I tried to repair the hood, and because you could see some of the yellow through the hood, I resprayed it, and it just kind of didn't look great. And so I tried mineral spirits, I tried some acetone, I tried even sanding it a little bit until I made an oopie, and I went past the point of no return, and I went through some clear coat. So I'm faced with a decision. Do I take it to a body shop and get it repainted to match the other 100,000-mile old paint? I don't know what to do. So I was like, it's past the point of no return, right? You've ruined it and you can't fix it, nor can you afford to fix it. But I didn't want to try painting it in my driveway. I didn't want bugs landing in it. I knew I wasn't that experienced with painting with paint like that. So I was like, I'm gonna get lines, I'm gonna get clouding. I was like, no thanks. I looked into truck bed liners, and there's some great brands out there, Raptor, Ultimate Lining, Rhino. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, but it didn't match the budget, which was a low budget. Plus, I need to get a proper sprayer if I was gonna use them. I had an okay compressor, but you know what, 80, 100 plus dollars for a decent sprayer? Even, not, probably way more than that. Clearly I didn't know what I was talking about with sprayers, so I didn't want to deal with that. And the other thing with truck bed lining is I didn't want to deal with the look, that glossy look, that hard shell glossy, splattery look. And I'm sure you can get a smooth texture, but again, we're back to being a professional and being experienced with a sprayer. But generally it's like a splatter look, which I wasn't into, and also it looks like an Olive Garden Tuscany textured wall. I was at Home Depot and I saw Rust-Oleum truck bed liner. It was like $7, $8. I'm like, oh, truck bed liner in a can, let's give it a shot. $8, I can swing that. Took it back to the shop, I tested it out on a piece of whatever, and it was weird. It was like a matte finish with a bit of a sparkle to it. It was amazing. It was like a stair tread, but cooler. I said I can do this, and I feel like it's gonna level itself out somehow. There's enough texture that I can hide any errors I make in the spraying process, so let's do this. Okay, so this is where we're gonna get into the tip portion, the steps portion. Some of this is gonna be super obvious, but some of these things may not be so obvious, and some of these things you may just not wanna hear because you don't wanna do it, and I understand that feeling. So one of the things I did, the first thing I did is I went back and I sanded everything. Maybe auto body guys can comment below. If you have a fresh clear coat, can you use Scotch-Brite 320 grit? What would you recommend? Give me a comment below if you have experiences with that, but sand it down. Then what I do is I want to get all the gross grease off. Now, I'm not going to go over my car with rubbing alcohol or some sort of prep, and I did not prime it at all. Maybe you recommend priming it. Probably a good idea, but it again cancels out the low budget concept of this. So what I ended up doing is washing it off with Blue Dawn. It's a great way to get grease and grime off your car. So after you've sanded it, hose it down with some Blue Dawn, brush it out really good because it's gonna be the last time you're gonna be able to use a brush or a sponge, and I'll explain that as well. Clean it up really good and then tape it off. Now when I tape it off, the only couple tips I have, obviously you wanna tape off lights, windows, things like that. But when you get to the door jamb, my car was yellow. I wanted to have a little bit of a peekaboo when you open the door and see some of that yellow. There's yellow trim inside, there's yellow accents I'm incorporating in the car audio. When you tape off your door jamb, unless you plan on painting all the way into your door jamb, tape off a hard line. Continue the tape into the car or jam some paper in there because this stuff comes out like a liquid and a powder and it just clouds everywhere. And you're gonna get this granule dusting into your car if you don't make sure you tape it all off. So Tape off that hard line and continue the tape anywhere else there's paint inside that door jamb. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of extra time, but you will be glad because you'll be spending that time cleaning it up later. Okay, so then after you have dawned your car, you've sanded, you've dawned it, you've taped it up, then you're gonna bust out the cans. Finally, so keep them warm, you know, keep them in the sun, shake them good, shake them for a minute. That's another thing I was very impatient on. I was so impatient. I had kids since then, so I've become much more patient. Shake those cans for 60 seconds. It's important. Stand back. Here's the technique. Stand back about 4 to 5 feet. And as you dust it, you just kind of want to just get that coating on there and keep moving around the car. If you get close, you're going to deal with the spray lines and they're going to be darker and they will show afterward. Now there's a way of kind of dealing with it to make it go away a little bit. And I'm going to share that with you as well. I dust the car. It takes about 12 cans the first time. You get a great coating on there. And this is actually after I was on a tour about 2.5 months on the road from Pennsylvania all the way to California in the dead of winter this year. I went through Wyoming. I had 4, just to let you know how severe it was, I had 4 huge cracks on my windshield by the time I got back from the rocks kicking up and the rock salt. So this was a real test on this finish to see how it lasted. So by the time I got home, the chips you're seeing me sand here is about all I dealt with. I went and I scuffed up any little scratches and dings. And I do this every spring. I scuff up any little scratches and dings. I try not to dig too deep. I just try to make sure that the paint underneath is scuffed because it's possible that it chipped because it wasn't scuffed enough. Any big scratches or anything like that, I try to blend it and go wider with my sanding because you really will notice that if you don't. I actually hit my rims up too because they were painted a gloss black and I had a couple little dings in those, so I made sure I took care of those as well while I'm doing it. And then I went back and did the same process, washed it down with Dawn a couple times to get any wax or any buildup off of it. Another step in the process is I pull off any hardware that's not too crazy. For example, the windshield wipers. I painted them with a matte black the first time I did this. So every time I give this a refresher every spring, I just give them a quick refresher too. Psst, psst, psst. Looks great, easy peasy. Stick them back on when I'm done. You cannot use a brush or a sponge after you do this finish. And I'm gonna tell you that right now. It was a humiliating, silly story. The first time I did this, I tried to use a brush and it left so much fuzzies, so many fuzzies that I went to get gas and this dude walked up to me in a tuxedo. I guess he was on his way to a wedding at the gas station and actually handed me his lint roller. I'm not even making that up. It's a true story. And I spent a day with rolling masking tape around my hand and peeling off lint. So do not use a brush. Do not use a sponge. It is a 220 grit sandpaper texture. It's gonna destroy the sponge and just leave residue everywhere, chunks everywhere. Okay, so here's how to deal with the spray lines and the clouding. And I don't even know if it's avoidable because A, you're doing it in your driveway, B, you're using rattle cans, and C, it just could be the nature of the texture of this product, but it's inevitable. So there is a way to get rid of it over time. So here's how I deal with the splatter. If you get a splat on a horizontal surface or even a vertical surface, take a microfiber cloth and just kind of blot it out. Okay, even right while it's wet, right when it happens, blot it out and just kind of blend it in. It's like a makeup tutorial here on YouTube. All right, just blend it in a little bit, stand back and give it another quick dusting from 5 feet away. It'll cover it up. You'll never know it happened. If you don't get it up though, you're going to have a splat permanently in your paint job. And it's gonna be really hard to get rid of. You'll probably have to sand it out eventually. You can't use a brush and you can't use a sponge. So how do you get this thing clean? You spray it down really well. If you have a pressure washer, that's better, but if not, a hose nozzle is fine. You just work with what you got. Spray off as much surface dirt and dust as you can. No chemicals yet, no sponges for sure. Get this thing sprayed off. Get a foam cannon. They're about 10, 12 bucks on Amazon. They're not a lot of money and it's totally worth it. Fill it with the stuff that I would never use on a car, especially a clear coat. You fill it, you go get that jug of soap with the high wax build in it. I don't know, it's like $4 for this soap thing and it's just got wax you just don't want on your car normally. But in this scenario, it's perfect. Completely coat your car with this soap. If it's hot out, don't let it sit too long because you don't want it to bake on, you don't want streaks everywhere. But let it sit a while and you hose it off, but you don't like blast it off. You want to leave that residue. And over time, what I found is that wax residue buildup over top of this truck bed liner texture, it just seems to blend in the spray marks and the clouding. I don't know, maybe I'm goofy, maybe it's just my mind, but I'll show you guys some pictures of it. it definitely seems to help. So that high wax buildup of that cheap soap wax really seems to blend in the mess, and it gives you, ultimately gives you a decent finish. So how often do I repaint it, and what's the point of repainting it, and why does it need to be repainted? Well, while I was on the road, one of the coolest things about this paint job is, unlike something where you'd have to be super meticulous like a clear coat paint, I would just get my car washed, pull into a Walmart parking lot. Sorry guys, it's blazing in here. Pull into a Walmart parking lot, take out a can, I carried a can with me, shake it up, and just dust my bumper. Any little chips I got, and it looked like brand new. On the road, I was able to refresh the paint for the most part. But every spring, I kind of let winter take its toll on the car. I get just general chips and dings in the bumper and grill. Nothing crazy. Hit them with a 320 grit sandpaper, maybe a little bit more aggressive if I need to be. I try to blend it and go as wide as I can without getting silly with it. Do the same process, tape up. You can tape over your hard lines now because you've already created the hard line. So now you're just kind of maintaining. I hit it with about 5 cans this time. 5 cans was plenty. I had a 6th can extra, which I'm just gonna keep for touch-ups. I just dusted it with 5 cans, peeled everything off, and it looks like a brand new paint job again. And then you just continue with the whole process of washing it with this gross wax soap, and it just maintains and looks great. And I'm finding that each winter, every time I put a new coat on, it seems to be stronger and stronger, and it seems to be less and less sanding and work to keep it clean. Okay guys, I hope this how to paint your car for cheap video gets me some views and gets me past 13 subscribers. If you do this, or well, first of all, if you have any suggestions on what I said or did, comment below, especially if you're an experienced auto body person. I'd love to know. But if you do this, go over to Instagram, just tag us, post your picture and tag us at FLINTFACE Makes. I would love to see what you do. I really want to see other people do this to other cars. I think it looks really dope. I tinted the windows, shiny rims, just enough bounce. Next, I think I need to pour 15. You know, rust coat the undercarriage with some pour 15. But other than that, I think I'm done with the outside. So I would love to see what you do. Love to see you do this on a Honda Civic, or love to see you do this on a brand new Land Cruiser. Yeah, your wife would appreciate it. Okay guys, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.